Next up, we have Golden Rim Resources, and joining me today is Craig Mackay. He's the managing director, and there's some game-changing stuff going on with Golden Rim, so sit up and take some notice. ASX code is GMR. Craig, good to see you. Over to you to tell the story of what's happening with Golden Rim.
Very good. Thanks, Kerry. Yeah, look, very keen to update everyone on Golden Rim Resources today. We've got some, I suppose, some pretty exciting news to pass on. We've got a brand new project in Guinea called Carter, an oxide gold project. We finalised an acquisition in February, and we've been drilling through the first half of this year. We've just started drilling again. And I suppose the big message, and we'll obviously get into the details shortly, is that we have a maiden JORC resource due for Carter end of January.
Sorry, maiden JORC resource at the end of January. That's pretty quick, Craig. Is that because there's been so much work around this previously?
That's right, Kerry. So it was a previous Newmont project. So it already had nearly 300 drill holes in it, a lot of other work as well. So there's a real leg up there, which really helps us put out this JORC resource very quickly, certainly under 12 months of actually acquiring the project. So look, I'll get into the presentation. I mean, we do have other projects. We have another gold project in West Africa called Kori, which is a 2 million ounce gold project, which is also very exciting with plenty of upside. We also have a precious metals project in northern Chile, which is also advanced. But just the fact that Carter has that near-term development potential, the focus is on that project at this stage, and that'll be I suppose, the focus of my presentation.
Right.
So let's just kick off. So the project that we're going to talk about mainly today is called Carter. It's in Guinea in West Africa. It's an advanced ex-Newmont project with nearly 300 previous holes. What we really like about it is the oxide gold. It has this really thick oxide gold blanket down to over 100 meters below surface. The strike extent of that oxide blanket is still unknown. We haven't found the extents of it at this stage. And then it sits within this major gold corridor, which is 15 kilometers long, potentially mineralized right along the corridor. And at this stage, we've only seen drilling on 800 meters of that 15 kilometers. So tremendous upside to build a really sizable gold resource. And then if you look up the road along the same structure, there's a major gold deposit called Siguiri, Anglo Gold Ashanti, 10 million ounces, where they've been mining gold over 10 kilometers of strike. So when you start to think about that, we've got 15 kilometers of potential at Carter, and then you look at over 10 million ounces in 10 kilometers up the road, you start to think, well, wow, what have we got here at Carter? So we're drilling there now, resource definition drilling, and we're looking to put out the maiden resource end of January. And as I've mentioned, we really think this is a fair income near-term mine development opportunity.
It's a game changer for you, isn't it?
Absolutely, Kerry. So we'll just touch on the corporate side. We've just recently done a 15-to-1 consolidation. So we've currently got 244 million shares on issue, a market cap of a lowly $25 million, I think, considering the potential that we have. Very experienced board and management, both in exploration and in mining. So Adonis Peroulis in the UK, myself in Melbourne, Catherine in Melbourne, and in West Africa, our team up there is headed up by Richard Zongo, a really experienced geologist with five gold discoveries under his belt. And as I mentioned, we've got this exploration and mining expertise. So we've been operating in West Africa now for nearly 15 years. We've made multiple discoveries. And our chairman's family are very famous in Africa. So the family now has built more than 10 mines, both in gold, but other commodities as well. So we have that experience. So his most recent experience in gold was developing the Mako gold mine in Senegal, which was sold to Resolute for $400 million. So I'll now get on to the Carter Gold project in Guinea. Before I start on the project, just a little bit of background on the country. So Guinea's in the, I suppose, western part of West Africa, up against the coast, and the gold mineralisation is in the eastern part of the country, in an area called the Siguri Basin. Guinea is very much a mining country, large bauxite, iron ore reserves, as well as very good gold potential. And I think one of the points to take away really from my presentation is just the fact that this Siguri Basin in Guinea is very much underexplored. So despite having nearly 12% of the prospective greenstone rocks in West Africa, it still only has about 6% of the gold production. So it's very much open for exploration, open for further discovery. And obviously we're starting to see some success in recent times. And I'll talk about groups like Predictive Discovery shortly that are having success down the road from us in Guinea. And our chairman also has a strong background there, and he's developed a bauxite operation on the coast. So if we're to proceed and develop a mine at Karta, we've got all that mine development experience already in-house. So we look at where Karta is. So this map on the right is the eastern part of Guinea. So this is the Siguri Basin. So the pale green there are the respective rocks that host the gold. So our license package there, the Karta project, is smack bang middle, in the middle of the basin. Directly north of us, along the major structure that runs through Karta, we have this huge gold mine, AngloGold Ashanti, the Siguri mine complex, more than 10 million ounces of gold. If you look further afield, you can see Predictive Discovery to the southwest of us, who just made a major discovery last year called Bankan, 3.6 million ounces. And obviously there's been a lot in the market with the success of Predictive Discovery over the last 12 months or so. And I think probably as a bit of a commentary, what we're seeing in this part of the world is a real gold rush. So a lot of major companies moving into Guinea. There's been discoveries made, as we're starting to see, and a lot more work being done. And I think over this next period of time, we're really going to start to see the potential of the Guinea and Siguri Basin, I suppose, show itself.
Craig, just quickly, why did Newmont decide to exit it? How did you get, because it sounds like a fabulous project. And as you say, it's along the same geological structure as the AngloGold Ashanti 10 million ounce. So how did you get your hands on it?
Look, I think probably Newmont really didn't cotton onto that structure that I'm talking about. I mean, that was really, and I'll show you some of our auger results shortly. There's work that we've done that really confirmed that structure and the gold mineralisation along that corridor. And ultimately, they just probably didn't drill enough area, Kerry. They only drilled 800 metres of strike. They actually calculated quite a sizable in-house resource, a non-JORC resource that we can't quote. I think they did have trouble with their joint venture partner, but really the real reasons they pulled out, I mean, are a bit unknown to us at this stage.
You don't care, you've got it.
No, that's right. So look at the mineralisation we've got. I think the exciting thing is you've got this great big deposit up the road. And if we look at the mineralisation there and what we've got in Karta, it's almost identical. So really broad zones of quartz, sulphide, tourmaline stockworks, but more importantly, very deep weathering. So the weathering and oxide zone down to over 100 metres below surface. So, and the other thing about this part of the world is it's all covered in laterite, laterite cover, about 10 metres of cover. So you can't just walk up and, I suppose, find a gold deposit on surface with traditional prospecting, this sort of thing. So we'd use a technique called auger drilling, just to drill beneath the cover to give us a geochemical sample in the bedrock beneath. And this is something that is just moving through into Guinea now, and Predictive Discovery used auger drilling to find their Bankan discovery down to the southwest. And we're starting to use it quite effectively in Karta, as are other companies starting to move auger rigs into Guinea. So it's a bit of a game changer in terms of exploration. And we're going to see a lot come out of that in the next period of time. So as I mentioned, it's an ex-Newmont project, Karta. So we're not starting from scratch here. I mean, there's been a lot of previous work done. So nearly 40 kilometres of previous drilling, some cracking intercepts that Newmont got, a lot of them from surface, And in fact, a lot of their holes, the entire hole, are mineralised. And it's not often that you see such broad intercepts, particularly in oxide material.
Mm.
They came up with a non-JORC resource, which we can't use. And essentially what we're doing now is infilling that area and getting it ready to calculate a JORC resource at the end of January. And then the other point, I think particularly with the Newmont work, is that they only cover 2% of the project area. So the rest of it has not been tested. And I think this is the exciting thing for us, is sort of moving further afield through the license area. And if we look at what we've done now, so we signed the deal up in Feb, and we've essentially had rigs going ever since pretty well. So we've gone in and done infill drilling around the Newmont holes, so over about 800 metres of strike. And there's a little plan there on the right-hand side showing our drill holes in the sort of white colouring, the Newmont holes in the black. Holes that we're about to drill, we've just started drilling again in the blue. And essentially what we've found in that drilling is this oxide blanket. So flat line from surface, 700 to 800 metres wide, up to 800 metres in strike length, and 100 to 120 metres below surface. So there's really extensive continuous zone of oxide gold, and the extents of it are still unknown. So it's certainly totally open to the north, totally open to the south. I think there's also some room to expand it east and west.
Wow.
But very, very interesting. So we've just done 4,000 metres of drilling. We just in the last week kicked off our second round of resource definition drilling, 6,500 metres. And then the milestone for us really, and the thing that we're really excited about, is this JORC resource end of January next year. And that's just a section through the resource area. So we're focusing on the top 100 and 150 metres, so the oxide zone. At this stage, we're not drilling deeper holes into the fresh material. We think the real potential here is to chase the easily mineable material along strike. And certainly the intercepts that we've been getting have been terrific. So there's some of the oxide intercepts that we've got in our drilling in the first half of this year, and amazing widths, good grades. And you can see some of the previous Newmont intercepts in the oxide zone there as well. And I think this is then really sets the project in context. So all of the drilling to date has been done in this Newmont resource area. So that's that blue outline on that figure to the right. So it only covers 800 metres of strike.
Tiny.
That's right. And then since us getting the project, we had 3 auger rigs out there first half of this year. We've got another 2 auger rigs out there now that have just started again. And we've defined this corridor of anomalous gold that is 15 kilometres long, extends north of the Newmont resource area, south of the Newmont resource area. And at this stage, it hasn't had anything outside the auger drilling. So there's been no drilling beneath 10 metres in depth. So the real potential here is finding more oxide gold resources along that corridor and outside the Newmont gold resource area. So, that work started, and certainly over this next period of time, we'll really look forward to putting out more auger results as we further define that corridor. But more importantly, we're going to start doing RC drilling in some of the better zones along the corridor to see what mineralisation we can uncover. And I suppose, why we really like Carter, it's really the mineability of it, so whilst we've got some other projects we think have real potential as well, I mean, what we can see at Carter is the potential to develop very quickly. And why is that? It's really a number of things. I mean, the fact that the mineralisation from surface, it's really broad. So it's the sort of thing that will have a really attractive stripping ratio. It's really continuous. And I think the other thing that we really like about it is how soft it is. I mean, our drill core is so soft, it's a bit like butter. I mean, you can actually cut it with a knife,
Really?
It's not often you have a mining or an exploration project where you can cut your core with a knife.
And
So,
why, not being a geologist, how does that help you?
it's all cost Kerry.
Right.
So it means that in terms of your mining, you may not need explosives, for example. I mean, you can just dig it up with an excavator,
Right.
put it in a truck and send it to the plant. And then when you look at your processing as well, your crushing costs aren't as high because your material is so soft. So you save on power, potentially equipment, that sort of thing. So, you know, it has all these benefits. Certainly the metallurgical test work that Newmont conducted looked positive. Plenty of water in this part of the world. There's a major river 3 kilometres from site. There's plenty of groundwater on site, and it rains a hell of a lot here in the wet season, so you can capture rainwater in dams. So has that going for it. There's a major mining centre at Siguiri City, about 60 kilometres up the road, and this is the city that supports AngloGold Ashanti's Siguiri mine. So, you know, great place in the part of the world to develop a new mining operation. So that's all I had on Carter. I was now going to move across to Burkina Faso. So we have a project in Burkina Faso called Kori. It's a discovery of ours. So we got it, there'd been no drilling done on the project whatsoever. We've since done 77 kilometres of drilling. We've got a resource there of 50 million tonnes of 1.3 grams gold for 2 million ounces. And this resource is still open along strike. It's open at depth. And I think more importantly, what we're starting to see at Kori is potential for higher grade material outside that existing resource area. The metallurgy is excellent. And we're a part of the world where developments have either been happening in recent times or they're underway. So a real success story down the road from us is West African Resources, an ASX-listed company at Sanbrado. So they're in production, going great guns. There's a Canadian company called Orezone near them that are currently under construction. In terms of taking Kori forward, we feel we need to find a bit more high grade before we could sort of take it towards scoping and feasibility. So we've probably got a period of time where we need to do additional exploration to prove up that high grade, but there is excellent potential to get that. But in the meantime, with Kori Carter moving along great guns in Guinea, and the fact that we're in an earning a period on the Carter project, we're focusing on that for the time being. Push that ahead, and then we'll come back to Kori.
2 minutes.
So just showing you some of the high grade potential at Kori. So recent intercept 6 meters at 25. So outside the existing 2 million ounces, you have plenty of potential for further high grade as we move along. And then just the last asset. So in northern Chile, we have a precious metals, base metals asset called Pahuanto. It sits in the northern Chile, porphyry copper belt in Chile. So an excellent address. It was an historic silver mine. There's a resource there on that silver mine, the silver lead zinc resource. Quite considerable amount of drilling, and that mineralisation still remains open at depth and along strike. In recent times, and I suppose particularly on the back of a strong copper price, we've been looking at a copper target there called Loreto. There's a picture there on the right that shows you the alteration zone of Loreto. So it's this big alteration zone in one of the biggest porphyry copper belts in the world that's never been drilled.
Wow.
So, whilst we focus on Carter at the moment, we've been doing a little bit of work on Loreto, getting it ready to move ahead to drilling. So we've identified a porphyry centre. We've found some copper oxides on surface. We've dated the rocks at the right age for porphyry copper. And we're currently getting access agreements together with landowners before we start some exploration. The other thing about this part of the world, I mean, we're surrounded by the majors. So we have BHP on one side, Codelco on the other.
All righty.
So just, I won't get into this. Were you stopping now, Kerry? Or?
No, you got 20 seconds.
That's fine. Look, ESG, I mean, obviously very important. I mean, given the time, I won't go into that. I just want to show you this slide. So I think this is where we're wanting to head. So we're down the left-hand side there at the moment with our resource at Kori, but we really think there'll be an uptick in value as we move forward with this Carter resource and more oxide gold resource results out of Carter. And you can certainly see some of where some of our other explorers or developers are sitting and developing the valuation stakes with some of the resources that they have. And then just summing up, it's all about oxide gold results, Kerry. So delivery of maiden resource in January. More oxide results as we expand the resource further along the corridor. And we're drilling now. So first assays not far away.
Fantastic. All right, Craig, we are out of time. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the Zoom networking room in a very short period of time. Thanks. And if you've got questions, make sure you join us at the Zoom networking in a short period of time. Thanks, Craig.
Thanks, Kerry.